Alright, we're back with Apple, and today we need to find out which of these two AirPods are for you. Either the AirPod Pros or the newly released AirPod Generation 3's. So, we're gonna get down to it and figure it out. Let's go. What's up guys, Nick Desjarlais here, and welcome back to the channel Vibe Nick. So we got the AirPod Pros in this hand and the AirPod 3's in this one. Starting off, the first things you need to take into consideration when choosing between these two is 1, price. How much do you want to spend? Does it matter? 2, comfortability and feel when it's in your ears. I promise they're both completely different. 3, this one kind of goes with number 2. Are you an ear tip or non-ear tip person? And 4, noise cancellation. Do you need it? Do you want it? Do you not care? Well, we're gonna jump into all that right now, starting with the price. So the AirPod Pros are going for $250, but that all depends on where you buy it from. So if you go to Best Buy, Amazon, maybe the Apple Store, they're probably all gonna have different price tags. And with Black Friday shopping going on and Cyber Monday, they have a lot of great deals. So the AirPod Pros are actually going on sale for $189. That's a $60 drop. So by the end of this video, if you decide that these are more your style, I would jump on that deal. Now over to the AirPod 3's, they're going for $180, and with the sales going on, I think they dropped it down $10. So it's going for around $170. Now it's crazy to think that the AirPod 3's are much cheaper than the last version, the Pros, but as we go on, it will make more sense on why they dropped that price. Okay, now both these AirPods have a completely different feel and comfortability to them. The AirPod Pros have the ear tips and the AirPod 3's do not, so we need to decide which is more your style. So my experience with the AirPod Pros was they had a really tight seal and felt really comfortable once they were wedged in the ear. You know, you had different sized ear tips, so you had small, medium, and large, so no matter what sized ear canal you had some choices there. Doing things active like sports, running around, going to the gym, doing some jumping jacks, they stayed put and did not move whatsoever, but that was my experience. For some of you, the ear tips probably didn't fit at all, so they just kept coming loose, and maybe that's why a handful of you are willing to try out these AirPod 3's. So coming over to the AirPod 3's, they have no ear tips, so they simply sit in your ear without being wedged into that ear canal. This made them feel lighter, less crowded, and a lot more comfortable with no irritation, no matter how long you wore them. So I'd have to say these definitely took the crown in terms of comfortability, but that was my preference. And in my experience, I noticed they didn't come loose whatsoever or came close to falling out, which I was very surprised about because lots of reviews talked about how these were constantly falling out of their ears. So let me say this right now, we're all gonna have a different experience. For some of you, you might have a good one with both. For some of you, maybe it won't be either of them, or for some of you, it might be one over the other. Luckily, I was good with both of them, but I can't say that's how it's going to be for all of you. So on to noise cancellation. The AirPod Pros have it and the AirPod 3's do not. And this is one of the reasons why there's a big price difference. But what is noise cancellation? So it pretty much blocks the environmental sound around you so well that if somebody was talking directly in front of you, you can barely hear them. So if you're in a noisy cafe, working on a computer, if you're in a noisy environment and you want to hear the conversation, talking on the phone, if you want to play music with no outside sound interruptions, or simply trying to read and need complete silence to concentrate, noise cancellation will solve that. So if that's something you desperately need, I would jump on the AirPod Pros. But over to the AirPod 3's, they don't have any of these noise cancellation and transparency modes. They simply just sit in your ears and play music how it is. But not a lot of people care about this. If you don't need all those extra bells and whistles, then I would jump onto the AirPod 3's, and I promise you're still gonna have a fantastic experience. So before we move on to even more important stuff, there's one more thing you might wanna take into consideration before choosing between the two, and it's the MagSafe charging cases. The AirPods 3 case is slightly smaller than the AirPods Pro, which means it can technically fit into pockets better. So if you like the smaller cases, maybe go for the 3's, but they're both small enough to fit pretty much anywhere, such as backpack pockets or pants pockets. Even those really small pockets on jeans, they both fit no problem. And to dig deeper, we got some dimensions. The AirPods Pro has a height of 1.78, a width of 2.39, and a depth of 0.85. A side-by-side view, the AirPods 3 have a height of 1.83, a width of 2.14, and a depth of 0.84. Okay, so now that we talked about the most important things when deciding between these two, what do they both have in common? So when we hold up both earbuds, they both have the same shape and size, they both have that short stem to it, and roughly the same weight. Yeah, the Pros are slightly heavier, but you can't tell a difference. Looking down at the stem, they have a force sensor, and all types of earbuds have either a button or some type of sensor to activate, pause and play, next track, and backtrack. The only difference between these two is on the AirPods Pro. If you long press, you activate noise cancellation and transparency, and when you long press on the AirPods 3's, you get just Siri. And up top, they are very similar as well, even more so when you take the ear tips off the Pros. They looked identical, and I was very happy that they kept that same style. Okay, now to list off the rest of the similarities between the two, they're both Lightning to USB-C for charging, and you can see both charging ports at the bottom of the cases. They're both Bluetooth 5.0, and I've had these AirPod Pros for a long time, and I've never had any issues with the connection, and I've had these AirPod 3's for about 3 weeks, and there's been no issues so far, so very happy with that. They're both water and sweat resistant, so the buds and the case will be fine. Splashes of water will not matter. They both have in-ear detection with sensors, so if you're playing music and you take an earbud out, it's going to detect that and stop playing music, and as soon as you throw it back in your ear, music will start again. But there's a difference between these two earbuds. The AirPods Pro have a optical dual sensor, which can simply tell when something's covering it or surrounding it. Now with the skin detect sensor, it can tell when there's skin making contact. So for an example, if you throw the AirPods Pro in your pocket and your pocket covers the earbud, it might start playing music in the left ear. If you put the AirPods 3 in your pocket, it's going to realize that it's a pants material covering it, and it won't continue to play music. So the skin detect sensor has a slight advantage. They both have the H1 chip, which really brings these AirPods to life. So it gives you things like longer battery life, Hey SIRI, which I don't want to say because all our devices will go off, adaptive EQ, which we'll talk about in just 1 second, and it also has that quick device switching. So if I'm connected onto my phone through Bluetooth and I want to immediately go over to my laptop, as soon as I go over to my laptop, it will instantaneously switch that connection. So that's very, very cool. Now that's just to name a few, but like I mentioned before, the H1 chip brings these AirPods to life, and without it, they wouldn't be as great. Now the audio on these two is absolutely amazing. It has the adaptive EQ and those inward facing mics to detect the audio coming through. So if it's decent audio, it's pretty good, right? It can take the lows, the highs, and the mids, switch it around, and really give you the richest sound possible. Now, I guess with the noise cancellation on the AirPods Pros, it might give you a better experience, but it doesn't mean it's going to give you better audio. I have to say, by listening to these back and forth, I think they're neck and neck. Now, two big ones are spatial audio with head tracking and the microphone quality for phone calls. So spatial audio gives you the ultimate experience, making you feel like you're in the action. And if you're sitting in a room, it feels like sounds coming in front of you, behind you, left, right, diagonal. And with the head tracking, as you turn your head, the audio goes with you. Now, if you're watching movies, TV shows, or playing music, it's a whole new ballgame, and I absolutely recommend it to all of you. Over to the microphones, you get a dual beamforming mic and an inward facing mic. So we're going to switch over to both of these microphones and see how they sound. Let's go. All right, so we got the microphone on the AirPod Pros. I think it sounds very, very good. I've heard the call going this way and the receiving end, and it sounds crystal clear. Now, I know we're in a quiet environment right now, but what happens when you're in a noisy environment? Well, it actually blocks out all that sound very, very well and just focuses on my voice. So I'm very happy with it, and I didn't think anything could beat it or compete. So let's see how the AirPods 3's do. All right, so we're over to the AirPods 3 microphone. It sounds pretty good. So far, it looks like it's competing with the AirPods Pro's microphone, but again, we are in a quiet environment, so everything's very calm. Now, when we're in an outside environment with noises going on, this is where things start to change. It does pick up a little bit more of that sound and creeps in, but still not enough for my voice to get all mixed in with that sound. So I guess I gotta say I go more towards the AirPods Pro because they do a better job keeping all of that sound out. But again, these are still really good. Onto the battery, they're pretty similar, but it looks like the AirPods 3's has a slight advantage. So coming over to the battery, the AirPods Pros get 4.5 to 5 hours of playtime on a single charge, and the AirPods 3's get 6 hours of playtime on a single charge. The AirPods Pros get 3.5 hours of talk time, where the AirPods 3's get 4 hours of talk time. Now on the Pros, with the earbuds battery and the case battery, you get 24 plus hours of playtime and a maximum of 18 hours of talk time. Now with the earbuds battery and the case battery on the AirPods 3's, you get a maximum of 30 hours of playtime and 20 hours of talk time. And what's cool is they both get an extra hour of play or talk time with just 5 minutes charging in the case. So it's pretty close, but it's pretty obvious that the AirPods 3's take the crown in this category. Alright, so in conclusion, I think both these AirPods are fantastic. Honestly, if you held one in each hand and said pick a hand, I would be happy with whatever one I got. Honestly, I would lean more towards the AirPod Pros only for that noise cancellation and transparency because I use it every single day. But don't be fooled, just because the AirPod 3's don't have it doesn't mean they're not worth it. I think they are much more comfortable and honestly have a really good rich sound. So let me know what you think. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. I appreciate you for watching. Smash that subscribe and like button, and I shall see you in the next one. Peace.